All right, I have a question for you, and I feel like this is something people are going to want to know. How are you handling the hits, right? Walk people through like that crypto roller coaster, because right now it would be on the downside.
No, Matt, hear me out. You got tunnel vision and you're thinking about it wrong. There's a lot of different areas in crypto to invest. How do you choose like where to invest? Yo, okay, like what are you investing in as far as it relates to crypto? I'll tell you exactly what I'm investing in. Cardano, Litecoin, Polkadot. So this is Cosmo. That's how we got here to be able to have money to invest, right? That's what this conversation is.
Less than 2% of people actually own any cryptocurrency.
The question is investing in crypto risky? And the answer is,
New Rules Podcast, it's your boy McKinley Hayes. I'm in the studio with my boy Carter F, Keril Sawyer, K-Dog.
Welcome to another episode of Your Questions Answered, Crypto Edition. So we're gonna be mainly talking about crypto this time. So I was talking to one of the people that I work with. She was like, oh, I don't know about this crypto thing. Like it seems kind of risky. We had a conversation of why I think crypto and Bitcoin and Web3 are valuable. And even if you're risk averse, like what to actually do or what you should be doing as someone who is enterprising and wants to grow and like make money in this. And here's my take on it, right? The question is investing in crypto risky? And the answer is yes, it is risky. However, you should never think, or people who want to acquire wealth can't really think about investments in just binary terms. Like, oh, I'm gonna only trade, or like I'm gonna just trade or win or lose it. Right. You got to think in terms of, you got to be like a multifaceted thinker. And so here's what I mean. Yes, I'm invested in crypto. Yes, the market fluctuates up and down. Right. First principle is like the money that I have in is not money that I need. I know a lot of people don't have that luxury, which is totally fine. Even if you're risk adverse and you're not someone who will invest in crypto, there's still different ways that you can think about how to make money in the future. So what I mean by that is there's technology behind it. Right. So there's a skill set. There are people working at these crypto companies, right? You see them, you see all the ads at the Super Bowl. They're paying somebody to create,
engineer it,
to like engineer it. Yeah. So there's engineering jobs. So imagine being like I don't even know, like, but imagine being like a crypto engineer expert. Like, how much does that pay? Right. Imagine being a crypto consultant or like whatever it is, blockchain consultant. Imagine starting a company that actually does one of the services. Like you read the couple that lost like 4.5 billion. Imagine now it's like, hey guys, if you think that 3x security or 2FA isn't good enough, here's how you 5x your security. And so there are other lanes. Like imagine being a designer who's able to design Web3 websites. Right. And then also create membership sites tied in with your NFT.
That's what's happening though. And that's why I like the coins that we're bullish on, because they come with the tech, the blockchains that creatives can build on. So like gaming platforms are hiring developers who can write contracts and code on certain blockchains to deliver whatever it is that's exclusive to that blockchain. That's not investing in cryptocurrency. That's learning the climate, learning the space. And then if you have that skill set or you want to acquire it, this should be a time to do it. I think a lot of times the rush to get involved with new technologies often happens after like user adoptions at an all-time high. Then it's cool to learn and to learn.
Like, but it's too late. Money.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like crypto's in that space now where like once every few centuries, there's a huge shift in currency or the way money's exchanged. Typically as African Americans in this country, we don't get the benefit of being involved in that change, right? Usually the change is adopted, we're consumers, we start buying it or we start taking part of it. But with crypto, this gives us a chance now, while there's this uncertainty about it, education is still going on to the masses where like you can get in, whether it's investing or whether it's learning the space or whether it's learning
or
like
teaching or having a course on decentralized finance.
Yeah, like it gives us a chance to shake up the wealth that's going to be created in this space. So I think we're at a unique time with crypto. It'll last about 5 to 10 years before it's adopted generally. Less than 2% of people actually own any cryptocurrency, or maybe it was even lower than that. So like if you take 100 people, less than 5 people in that room actually own it. And let's be real, a lot of people are, check to check or trying to make it happen. So even with that low number, there's people who actually have it, and then there's people who have large amounts of it. That number is going to be even lower. Is it risky? Like you were saying in the beginning, while that's true, it's volatile. The proof is still in the pudding. It's still, like we said in the Ramsey video, outperformed every single asset over the past decade. Is it probably too late for that kind of gain? Yeah, especially in Bitcoin. But wouldn't you still, put in something that can grow and will grow? I mean, there's still projections for Bitcoin to go to 250K a coin. Why not put in some money that you can help grow or you can watch grow. I mean, unless your strategy is to trade it and pull it out every other day, because then you're going to drive yourself crazy. Let's get back to the Q&A.
Should you still be investing in crypto? And I think I flipped that question on its head and was like, yes, but how you invest is up to your creativity, because there's still a lot of money to be made. Like the way that we make money now off of internet skills, right? Like what you did with your government position and now what you do now is all internet based. The internet, a lot of companies didn't make it when it started, right? But because of the skill sets, so it's almost like if you didn't invest in a company and lose money, but you invested in a skill set, maybe ours happened by default and just by going to college and like all this other stuff. My whole point is the investment I made in learning an IT skill set has earned me millions, to be honest.
So you're saying that people should be
thinking
for minimal,
broadly.
You should be
thinking broadly, like not only thinking in terms of the get rich quick, hey, I'm gonna invest in this, but to sit down, observe, and analyze everything that is this new technology and look at how it's interacting with society and figure out like your lane in it. Like that's one of the ways I got to where I was. I was like, how much this person make? How much that person make? Right, and you don't have to be money focused, but my point is, you have tunnel vision and you're thinking about it wrong.
If a company comes to you and says, we're trying to ramp up on the legal side in terms of our IP behind digital assets, or, in terms of learning like how to protect ourselves, because let's say Amazon, which of course is a giant, but you could use a smaller company. Walmart was not small, but like companies, I'm naming companies that have come out publicly and said they're about to start accepting cryptocurrency as a form of payment. I'm pretty sure there's some legal work that goes into the protection of accepting digital payments outside of a credit card. That's an opportunity for someone who didn't know much about it, who can become like a subject matter expert, apply that skill set and go to 30 companies and say, hey, I'm one of 3,000 registered cryptocurrency legal aids in the state. And I can come on board your company as you start to accept these payments and make sure that you're protected from X, Y, and Z, or in the event of a cyber attack, this is the insurance that's in place through these companies. Like, I'm just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. That's not someone, I'm taking my last whatever and investing in crypto. That's not that. That's you investing in a skill. That's you learning, how to present it to another entity and say, this is valuable, and then cashing out in your own way off it without being super risky. And I think that's what you're getting at. That's how more people should approach it. I mean, we talk about the investing side too, because like, we're on that, but like that doesn't mean it's not a non-starter if you tell me you're not into investing in crypto. It's like, okay, after we had that conversation about why you're not, but do you denounce the technology? Because that's a different conversation. Like, do you not think it's here to stay? Do you think it's still like?
I mean, I wouldn't even be asking. Like, I think I'm more telling at this point in my life, where it's like, we're not giving financial advice, and this isn't financial advice. Here's what got me to where I am. Some of it was risk, but some of it was just being observant and old school hard work. Yeah. What I'm talking about now is like not K-Dog with money that was investing shit. Right. I'm talking about I ain't working with nothing. Yeah. Here's how I take nothing and turn it into something. Looking at where the value is in a given market and being like, trends, I'm gonna get in here because these people need this and I can get this skill set and I can be better than other people in this skill set. Right. So that's what I'm trying to convey on this podcast, which is, yes, you could look at X, Y, and Z and be like, I don't have that. We started with nothing too. We invested in different things, skill sets, people, time, learning. That's how we got here to be able to have money to invest, right? Right. So that's what this conversation is. It's like when people are asking me questions, it's like I'm trying to open up and expand your minds and be like, yeah, like that's one aspect of getting rich, but there's also a ton of other stuff that you could be looking at. And so you shouldn't think about investments as like a one thing. It's like multifaceted. Like it's multi ways to kind of do it, right? Moving on to the next question. One of my frat brothers, he called me. He was like, yo, Kay, like, what are you investing in as far as it relates to crypto? So I'll just read it off to you guys. Just keep it simple, right?
I'm curious too.
So in this down market, well, market's going back and forth, but I'll tell you exactly what I'm investing in. So this is my Coinbase account. Solana, Engine, Cosmos, which I'll talk about in the next question. Ethereum, Avalanche, Bitcoin, Storage, which is a storage company, Fetch AI, Cardano, Litecoin, Polkadot, and AMP. Helium, Terra, also known as Luna, VeChain, Reserve Rights, and then I got some Ethereum in this folder. USDC, because I've been learning about staking, but I'll talk about staking like in the next one. But that's everything. So if you want to know like what I'm invested in, that's everything that I'm invested in between two accounts. which is Coinbase and then crypto.com.
All right, I have a question for you, and I feel like this is something people are going to want to know.
Okay.
Everything's down right now. Crypto, stock market, pandemic, war going on, Russia, Ukraine, like it's a wild time out there. How are you handling the hits, right? Because me and one of my close coworkers, I'll say, talk all the time about buying red, buying the dip. And, we long-term holders, so we laugh about it because in the earlier days, really around the time we shot the video, he didn't even know about Solana, so I told him about that. And at this time, it was a good buy for anything under 200. Obviously it's dipped below 100. It's starting to creep its way back up. He's a long-term guy. I'm a long-term guy. I'm like, yeah, I actually feel bad about that one because, it ain't too hot right now. But he, he knows. He's like, I bought more. Same thing here. For anybody watching it, right, who's like, all right, well, right now, if you was hype about crypto 6 months ago for the first time and you haven't had the chance to see those gains yet, right, because everything you put in right now is f***ed up. How do you handle that? And what is your mindset about it in terms of moving forward? Are you waiting out the storm? Are you buying more during the storm? Are you celebrating the storm? Or are you blown? Are you mad? Have you ever woke up what the happened? Walk people through that crypto roller coaster. Because right now it would be on the downside.
The first thing I would say, because you're asking me about my mindset and how I'm handling the current market.
You just read your portfolio.
Yeah.
A lot of great coins in there, but there may be some that have done the whole 15, 20, 50x. But then it's some that have done, the extreme drop, and it might level out for you in particular. But for the people who just started getting into crypto, they bought their first little bit of ETH, they bought their first little bit of Bitcoin, they bought their first meme coin. You know what I'm saying? They finally did that.
Yeah.
Most of those people have lost money in the last 6 months. But I'm asking Keril how you handle those dips and swings.
It's a great question. You gave me a lot to unpack. I think the first question was how I'm handling the dip in the current market, or the market's going to shit
right now.
How do I handle it? And my answer is the same way I handled it in 2008. When the market's down, there's an opportunity. Your job is to find that opportunity. I guess to answer the question directly, what I'm doing is looking at different businesses, different skill sets, how other people are still making money in the market, and so I'm in study mode.
Right.
So when the market's down and things are going well, I'm in study mode.
Right.
I'm like, some people make money in a downturn. Right. Like traders do.
Yeah, well, that's different. That's what options.
Well, it's not different.
It's not different, but
No. I'm not, hear me out. What I'm saying is that when one thing isn't working or going well, it's a good time to step back and learn.
Right.
So I'm not saying that you need to trade, right? It's different, it's a whole different thing. But now it's probably a good time to pick up a book on trading, maybe.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure.
Hey, how do people make money in a downturn?
Right.
Right. And you could I know with some of these apps, you could fake trade. I know there's a better term for it.
No, I know what you mean. They give you simulated money.
Fake money,
to
right?
Practice, yeah.
So you could do that. In 2008, the best thing I did, right? I wasn't as savvy as I am now, but I invested in myself and I invested in my career. So I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Everything was tanking. Companies were firing people. Even Cisco was laying off people. I was like, yo, I just doubled down on my skill set, getting better at sales, bought more books, went to more conferences. I was learning, okay, in a downturn, how do you sell in a downturn, right? Did that, left that, went to a startup. And so while the market wasn't doing well, that's an opportunity to go find a place where somebody isn't doing well. You got a skill set, or you can learn a skill set and go make money. So to answer your question bluntly, now I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm like, oh, I work at Google. Google's great. However, I'm studying all these crypto guys now. I'm like, yo, how did I think it's Sam Bankman-Friedman or something like that. He's worth whatever. He found a loophole in how he trades, whatever. It was a currency discrepancy between China and whatever, and he was able to kind of keep buying coins. Yeah. It's a billionaire now. My whole point is this: that's a skill set.
Right.
Bringing everything I said back to the one question you were asking me, which is how am I handling the market, is a great time to find and understand opportunities. When the market's up, you balling. You're like, oh man, yeah, I bought the dip. I came up on the dip. I cashed out. I'm in the club with my girl. When the market's just down and your money's down, you can't take it out because it's so low, right? It's so underwater. Yeah. It's ain't nothing you can do, bro.
That's what I'm asking.
Make more money.
Yeah, because there's a subset of people who are impatient, right? And they bought, when we say bought, not that we're mad influence, just the world was telling you buy. And then the world started worlding, right?
Right.
Pandemics, wars, economy, changes in presidents, you name it.
Yeah.
And now we're in a space where the values are significantly down from where they were. I remember everything tanked in March 2020 when it happened. And by June, not even nowhere close to being out of the pandemic, Walmart and Tesla hit record highs. Or that's just an example, right? Yeah. But the stock market recovered and went to record highs and had like single Dow day records. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I know there's people seeing this who got in crypto 6 months ago and they're never going to return because they had a bad experience. They got in, you know, at a time when it seemed like a good buy. Now everything is down. They want to hear from people like you and me who make videos to say like, what happens when I followed the advice of a crypto enthusiast who 6 months ago told me to buy, and now I'm down half my money. I say buy more because you weren't supposed to put in money that you were going to miss in the first place.
Exactly.
But two, my mindset is they're on sale, whereas one Solana coin cost me $200 6 months ago. I can get for half price at 98. So instead of buying 5 coins, you know what I'm saying, for a G, I can get 5 coins for 500. Because eventually, when I look back and I got 800, 1,000 coins, I'm happy at the trading price in the future, and I'm happy at the price that I purchased it at. But if I'm only thinking about the times when it's lower than my purchase point, emotionally, I'm always going to feel like, why am I doing this? I'm losing money, unless I shift to a unit-based mindset. I'm sure there's people who do it. I just don't. Like a day trader mentality, where you're in and out. It's up, taking out, strategy. In and out. It just seems like that's a setup for disappointment because of how volatile it is. But if you ask anybody who bought Bitcoin in 2017, in 2022, how they're doing today, it's static, right? Because the 5 year, they weren't trading, pulling in and going out. They're here with it. So like, that's a message, I guess. I just hijacked this part of the Q&A to say like, you got to have a long-term hold mentality, or else these short-term downturns will eat you alive. I just want to make sure we address that. And I want to ask you how you handling it.
The same, really, right? So what I mean by that is the first advice that we give people is like, don't invest more than you can afford to lose, right? Mm-hmm. Venture cap people, those that have invested in like Facebook or Google or companies like those. The way I understand they invest is you make 10 bets, right? And then out of those 10 bets, 9 of them are going to fail and then one's going to succeed.
That one that succeeds covers all the losses.
Right. And so that's why the psychology behind investing is put money in that you can afford to lose, because that way you don't have to worry about it. You're like, you know what? I was already planning that 9 of these weren't going to work out. So it's not a hope mentality. It's more of a long-term investment strategy where I'm going to make 10 bets and I'm going to make one work. So you're asking me like how I'm playing. Like I made my 10 bets. I just read you all like all my like everything that I'm invested in, and I'm continually putting more money in it. I'm not putting more, like I want to actually put more in it, but I'm in the process of buying a house. So once I buy the house, I want to be over 100 G's in crypto by, I would say, this time next year, right? Like that's my goal. Like, however it happens, if it happens with the uptick, if it stays down, I'm still buying in. What I'm doing, if you're asking me what I'm doing, I am buying, I am holding, I am leveraging the same strategy that most large investment firms use, which is I've made bets and I'll see what happens with my bets. At the same time, I'm hedging all my bets by saying, you know what? I'll make money some different ways. Henceforth, this podcast, right? The thing I like about what we do is that it's like real time. Yeah. Call this a side hustle. Call this nothing may come of it, right? If I make $2 million in crypto, you'd be like, okay, teach me what you did, right? There's a course. On top of that, I'm watching people leave, like I'm reading the news, I'm watching people leave Google. Yeah. And like, I think one high ranking dude, I didn't look up the thing, but it just kind of struck me as, oh, somebody left Google and went to like Coinbase, like some high executive.
Yeah. I saw that. And then some high ranking Peloton person went to one of them companies.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Right. So if that dude signed at Coinbase for, X amount worth of crypto or Bitcoin, if you don't invest in anything a day in his life, this technology is still changing his life. And that's the point I'm making. Right. It's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm investing 5% that I can afford to lose. I am looking at other ways adjacent to how to make money. And then I'm also looking at how other people are making money as far as like servicing the market and creating value. So like if you're asking me like how I'm handling like the volatile market, it's like how I handled it last time, and it seemed to work pretty well, which is hold if you can, and it's under your 5%, under your risk tolerance, buy more. And then outside of that, start looking at other adjacent ways to make money. Because the key thing about investing that I find is the more money you put in, the better chance you have of return. Like nothing's guaranteed, but the more money you put in. And so if you're like, hey, so like to your friend's point, it's like, hey, it's blood on the streets. I feel like I'm bleeding. It's like, bro, make more money. Like I'm not saying that casually. I'm saying you're looking at this basket you got your money in. You're looking at it every day, it's not moving. Right. It's like, bro, like at some point, You gotta do something else. You gotta pivot. All right, cool.
Well, that's why we're so big on diversification. Like, I know we talk about crypto a lot, but you have not heard, not one time on this podcast, us to say go all in on crypto, because we still are big proponents of the stock market, of real estate, of index funds, ETFs, mutual funds. Yeah. Whatever, you name it. People need to know that, like, we feel the burn too. We feel the pain too. We don't like waking up and seeing all that red on our phone, but we don't, you know what I'm saying, go crying about it. We start, you know what I'm saying, putting our strategy together for our diversification, when and where we can buy more. And we already know the buckets are going to fill back up because we're long-term holders. So that's what it is.
All right, and the last question for today is, there's a lot of different areas in crypto to invest. How do you choose like where to invest? So here's how I answer that. The two areas that I'm super bullish on in crypto right now, one is decentralized finance. And more specifically, because I don't think like, this is like a Q&A, we'll probably dive into some of these topics deeper, but I'm really interested in like how staking works. So how to put your money up and actually get a return on it. So you'll see some videos where there's some crazy returns. I'm not that non-risk averse or whatever the term is, meaning that like, I ain't putting my money up for 8,000% return because that sounds shady to me.
Yeah.
But what I did do was I've been investing in Cosmo, been putting about $200 a month in. I was curious to see if staking actually worked, because the banks no longer give you any money on your return. Like, you put your money in like a bank back in the day when our parents were around, like it was like 5%. Now it's like
0.9,
because they're really pushing you towards trying to invest. Exactly. Yeah. So where can you park your money safely? I think it's decentralized finance. So I'm putting $2,400 into Cosmo, and then I'll make a video on what my returns were and how that experience was.
We definitely got to do a video on staking. I want to understand it more, but the first question I have about it is, if the coin loses value, but it's staked at a certain percentage, let's say you're 2,400, the price of the coin drops and now it's 2,000. You get 5% of that 2,000. So it's like, it'll stake even that lower amount, but obviously if the value rises, it'll stake that higher amount. Is the percentage based on what it's worth no matter what?
No, that's based on what the price worth at that time.
Okay. What I'm trying to figure out is, how can a place that stakes afford to pay a percentage on a wild increase that wasn't expected? Like, look at Dogecoin. That obviously jumped 21,000% overnight, and it was insane. I don't think you can stake Doge. I'm just using an example. What if a bank all of a sudden owes 5% on a $21,000 increase to mad people? How do you guarantee that money? Like, how, I don't know. I mean, there's probably a way they cover themselves, but I'm just saying, like,
you're trying to understand the business model, and I don't think we can explore it deeply here because it's not, because it'll take too much time. Okay. But the way I understand the basic principle is like how you like loan money. Right. So like, I'm staking my coin, I don't have access to it.
Right. Because you can't touch it. That's a good point.
But now other people, like now traders, like, but it gives like liquidity to the market. Right. So you borrow like my money. Right. Now Mac wants to run options or derivatives trading. You borrow on that money. I'm charging you for that. And so they're making money on your money, and that's typically how they can pay you out. They got to make sure
that... But if your money, if it's losing, then what they owe you goes down too. Like if you stake at 5% and it drops to 2,000.
Oh, but then they're only paying you
They only have to pay you out of what's lost.
No, so they're paying you the same amount. They're just timesing it times whatever like the coin's worth. So like let's say the original agreement was... You threw $1,000 in and it was 200 a coin, and they were paying at 5%. That's one amount. Right. Market crashes. Your whole portfolio for Cosmo was 1,000. Now it's worth 300. Now that 5% is multiplied times that 300. Right. So you're actually down
daily though?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I understand it. Okay. This question was about decentralized. Like, what am I doing? Like, what are like some of the current trends in crypto? Yeah. And where am I focused? I would say decentralized finance, more specifically staking. So how to, like, once I have my money in crypto, how do I put it somewhere where it earns a percentage that's the least risky? Right. Whatever that means, right? But this is a cool example. So this is Cosmo. So you see, I've been dollar cost averaging, and then you see like the crypto rewards. This happened on March 19th. This one happened on March 25th. So why I did this was so we could learn how it works. Right. So March 4th. So it seems like it's a cadence, and I don't want to deep dive into it, but the whole point is I got the data now to show to put together, exactly like how everything works. And then you go here, and then it tells you how much I've earned lifetime, right?
Is there a penalty if you try to pull the stake out before the agreed upon term? I'm sure there is.
So it depends on each app.
Because you have to pick a length of time, right? Like 1 year, 3 year, 5 year? No?
I think it depends on the app. Okay. So here's what I mean by that. I think with Cosmo, you can pull it out the same time.
Cosmo,
like it just stops, right? So I've earned $10 so far. Pros to earning that is, it works. Right. Cons of it is that Cosmo dipped when the market dipped, so I was at a loss over all of my portfolio. But I guess the best case scenario is if Cosmo goes up, and I get to keep all the interest.
You get to keep the staked money, the interest, money, and the rise on the coin.
And the rise on the coin. So Cosmo does it one way, but then I also put some money in USDT because I'm testing that one also on crypto.com. Mm-hmm. They require you to hold your money for 3 months. So some applications...
That's too short, though. I would think you want more.
No, they can give you more. They give
That's
you
just the minimum,
like different rates. They're like, hey, we'll give you X amount of percentage to hold your money for 3 months, but you can't pull it out for 3 months.
Right.
So that's how that one works. This one on Coinbase with Cosmo is a little bit different, where they're like, fluid. You could pull it out and like in and out, but we're gonna pay you every X amount of days. Like whatever this thing was, like whatever. Like
I like that one better, but you know they might be more favorable if they lock you in longer. I don't know.
I think that. USDT or the one on crypto was more like it was a higher percentage. Like don't quote me on it, but I think it was more than 5%, and that's why I was testing it. So it's almost like I've taken baby steps. I started at the bottom. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put 2 G's in the Cosmo, see what happens,
and then same thing over here and see which one works out better. Yeah,
I did that so we could have this specific conversation. So when people ask me detailed questions, I'm not a bystander. I got $2,400 in. You can get that by doing $200 a month. Here's what they paid me. Here's what the risk. Here's the pros and cons. One of our next videos is going to be on staking and also on Cosmo and my experience with it. We'll make another video on USDT, and when that 3 months is up, how that worked out. Yeah. And then people can make a decision for themselves. So that was actually part one of my answer. And then the second area that I'm interested in as far as relates to crypto trends is DAOs. Super interested in DAOs. DAOs are the corporations that run by themselves. So it's like a autonomous organization or where a whole bunch of crypto people can come in and put money into something and own like a corporation and buy stuff. They tried to buy the Constitution, so it was like the Constitution DAO. So almost like hey, let's form like a crypto organization.
Yeah, like put a pool together and buy some
Exactly what DAOs are. So now that I think I read a headline where there was a DAO trying to buy a team. That just reminds me of how foreign people come to this country, and I say foreign because I'm trying to be politically correct because I'm African, by the way. Or immigrants come to this country and how they pool their money together to buy a first dry cleaner, then a second dry cleaner. That concept resonates with me when I think about DAOs. I'm like, if we wanted to buy, say, okay, we're already financially successful or we have enough money. We're like, everybody put 50 G's into this thing and we'll buy this building or put a down payment on this commercial building. That's how I think about DAOs. Buying power or joint buying power is powerful.
Crowdfunding, basically. I know there's a negative connotation to that one. But look at Wall Street Bets. Look what they were able to accomplish. Reddit proved that you could put a bunch of traders in a room and can shake the whole market. Why wouldn't a company be able to do that?
And that company can be owned by you and me. Kind of went over, but this is the crypto edition. I hope this was helpful.
So if you like content like this, click like, subscribe. Make sure you follow the page. We got the staking video coming up, paywalls going up so we can show you guys some real numbers, real use cases. Got some courses on the way to kind of show you how we got where we're at. We're going to keep dropping this freebie content. So subscribe, drop us a comment. Let us know how you feel about it.
Go watch all of our videos.
All of them.
They all help.
All of them.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? But
until next time, man.